Man United nil, Newcastle 2. And with that, 2024 comes to an end. If there was any game that would perfectly show you exactly what's been happening to our team, maybe in the last 10 years, maybe in the last 1 year particularly, this game showed everything. Basically, we start off with intent, but once it gets to the business end, once we actually have to deliver, then our heads drop. One goal conceded, we lose composure. I don't even know who to blame anymore. Because now there is partly some blame on the manager, there's partly some blame on the players. Of course, it goes without saying that the players carry at least minimum 80% of the blame. Because of these players not having the desire, the intensity to actually run, to chase loose balls, to chase the first balls, that is why we lost today, guys. This has nothing to do with anything else apart from our players' desire. This has shown you today, apart from a select few, and I'd name them Ahmad, Euro when he came on, and Mino in general. Apart from these three, I don't think any other player played with any respect. And this is a bigger issue, guys. 20 players were there in our squad today. And out of 20 players, how come? What are the odds that only 3 actually show up with a respectable performance? When I mean respectable, I don't mean a good performance. I mean just enough. What about the rest of them? And this is my issue, guys, with the team. Why I blame Amorim is not the system. Because I think the system works pretty fine. It can and it has potential to actually grow. Because if you take the first few minutes of the game, we were pressing Newcastle. We were not letting them live. You know why? Do you know why? Because we showed desire. We wanted the first ball. We wanted every chance to get the ball, to press and confuse Newcastle. And we were doing pretty good. Then Isak scores. Out of nothing, Isak scores. And Newcastle, with their first chance, first attack, they score and suddenly heads drop. Stadium goes silent. Now, what do we do from there? We don't know. We do not know how to build from a losing position. This is very, very scary, guys. Unless we get players starting from tomorrow. And I just have a feeling, even now, we have still not hit rock bottom. This rock bottom might come against somebody like Fulham or Brighton, at least until January, guys. I did the math. Unfortunately, we are only getting 3 points all the way till the 2nd of February. Because we play Fulham away, we play Brighton away, Arsenal away, Liverpool away. And then in between those games, we have Rangers at home, Steaua Bucharest away. And this collection of games, guys, tell me we're not losing all of them. Apart from Southampton in between, we are losing every single one, at least until Crystal Palace on the 2nd of February. Guys, when I say this, I am being deadly serious. My goal now this season, I've already decided, is to just survive. Forget everything else. Finish in the top 15 and we move on to next season. That is all. Because, like I've said before, guys, Europa League, forget that. FA Cup, forget that. Carabao Cup, we're not in it anymore. Forget any chance of Europe, guys. Yeah, playing this way, nothing is changing. And like I said, there's also blame on the manager. Why? Because if the system is not wrong, then it's probably your in-game tactics, or rather your personnel selection. And that is what I have a problem with, guys. We know, right? Everybody knows that Mino is a 10. Why do we know that? Because every time he gets the ball, he advances into offensive positions. When he plays in the pivot, he does not offer any defensive support. So if a player does not offer defensive support, what, guys, do you think is the worst thing you can do? To probably drop him in a pivot where he has to defend, right? Where his partner is probably not as mobile and he needs to cover for that. But now Mino himself is not mobile. So now what do? Now you're in a situation where you have 2 players who are not mobile. Now your midfield is wide open. And the worst team to play in these cases are high pressing teams like Newcastle, high pressing teams like Bournemouth. And now you see what happened in both of those games. We got embarrassed, we got humiliated in both games, performance wise and results wise. And the problem, guys, this has been the same since Erik ten Hag. We have this weird system where these players love to drift out wide. But the thing is, they don't put in any crosses, so it's ineffective. And second thing is, many of them are players who like to play short passes. But there are some players who are technically inept as well, like Dalot, like Højlund. And these very players are the ones why we can't play intricate passes in the box, or we can't build up to the box, because we do not have the proper personnel for that. But still, you persist with playing the same players who are causing us the problems in the first place. Like Højlund at number 9, like Dalot at left wing back. We know these two won't work. Bruno Fernandes, watch what's going to happen at Anfield. He's going to come back in the pivot again instead of the Casemiro Ugarte pivot, which would be perfect. The dynamic is perfect, but I do not understand why Amorim broke that apart. When it was working for Ruud, why break that apart? And guys, let's not forget, we can also play wingers at wing back, but guess what? We're still playing right backs at wing back. What is the difference, you might ask? Well, you play a right back, you play a left back at wing back. We're playing more defensive. We're playing a back 5 essentially. You play a winger there, we're playing a back 3 again. So it's all about what kind of approach do you want to take. If you want to take a defensive approach, guys, go on with left backs and right backs. If we're playing at Anfield, if we're playing at the Emirates, if we're playing at the Etihad, by all means, go ahead. But if we are playing Newcastle at home, please do not play left backs as wing backs. Please do not. But I guess that's what Amorim has taken, at least for now, at least till his first window. So yeah, very bad signs to start with. And this was one game I said in my head, I want to see really what Amorim does. And unfortunately, he didn't quite live up to what I would have expected. Now, questions need to be asked. Again, I'll repeat this. This is not me saying Amorim out, because guess what? Too early. Like I said, in February or March, I can tell you where I stand on that. But right now, it's just not looking good. Guys, let me also add one more thing. I can't believe Zirkzee was heckled off by the Old Trafford fan base after he was subbed off. First of all, guys, he was nowhere near the worst player on the pitch. Amorim scapegoated him. Let's be honest. He scapegoated him. Why? Why do I say this? I know anybody who's watched the game will tell me now, Zirkzee messed up a few balls. He gave the ball away. If that's the argument you want to use, let's take this. Why is a pass made? Let's take it very fundamental. Why is a pass made, guys? A pass is made looking at the trajectory of where other players are moving, right? Based on movements of other players. So, if you see another player outside the line of your vision moving into space, you're probably going to try passing it to him, right? You're not going to wait till the player already has reached there and till the defender has also reached there to make the pass. No. And if you guys think I'm wrong, well, go back and look at the clips. It's all there. Look at what Zirkzee did in the first half. I actually thought he was trying to find the passes. Yes, he messed up, but he was playing on a different wavelength to everybody else. Every other player in that team was moving like a rusty, oily machine in that first half. There was so many problems with all the players were lacking confidence. They did not have any movement in them. They were not anticipating movements. And for some reason, I've already seen people say Zirkzee wasn't that good. Well, why that was not because he messed up passes. He messed up passes because people were not making the runs. He anticipated the runs. If you look back at it, the passes were on point. The players started making runs, then, I give up. Højlund particularly, guys. There was just one moment in that first half where Zirkzee tried to thread a pass through, and the pass was through, right? Now Højlund started making a run. I looked at Højlund specifically. Højlund started making the run and then suddenly stopped. Why? Because either number one, he's devoid of confidence, or number two, he just does not have the anticipation like that. Second thing also, and before we move back to the Zirkzee thing, Højlund also did lose the ball many times. So this is why, guys, I'm saying Højlund is not a long-term striker for United. He's not the guy, and we have to change him. But anyway, coming back to Zirkzee. Now, the Old Trafford fan base, who very much pride themselves on, we support every player, no matter what, ride or die and all that. They'll say Garnacho is going through a rough patch. But you look at the last 3 players that this fan base has heckled for absolutely no reason. It was Zirkzee now, Sancho last season, Pogba the season before that. All these 3 players, they might not get you a lot of goals and assists, but they are fundamental in the team working. And if the team is not working around them, logically they do not function because they are link-up players. Now, this fan base, okay, this is what I understood. They deserve everything that they're getting, right? If we get relegated this season, which won't happen, but let's just say it does, this fan base, the United fan base, deserves this completely. You know why? Because they're entitled to the point that they do not understand that many players are needed to build a team. It's not just one player, right? You can't just have a Cristiano. Even if Cristiano Ronaldo in his 28 years old came right now, what do you think would happen, guys? We'd probably go from 14 or 15 where we are now to maybe 9, 10. That's about it. That's prime Cristiano I'm talking about. You know why? Because we still need chances. We still need a team around him. And if you think Ronaldo isn't that good enough, even if we bring Leo Messi in, Leo Messi, as good as a player he is, even though he's the best of all time, even then, he will not be able to do much. You know why? Because even if the passes are threaded through by Messi, even if he tries to take a shot, how is he going to take a shot when nobody else is passing the ball around him? And this is why this entire team needs a rebuild. And when I mean a rebuild, guys, I'm talking about a proper rebuild. Let's go this far to say that the squad that Van Gaal managed in 2015-16, you guys remember how bad that was? When we had Fellaini as a striker, when we had Young as a left winger, when we had Carrick playing at centre back. But just taking the names, yeah, technically this team is better. But if you really look at the performance levels for what is expected, this team is nowhere near, guys. Nowhere near that team. Comfortably the worst Man United Premier League squad I've ever seen. And I think it's come to the point, guys, this club is cursed. I've come to accept that. Because in my 10 years of watching United, I've always seen us struggle, seen us perform bad. But never to this extent. Like, the closest we got to this was probably under Ole. At the end of his tenure, Ten Hag again, towards the end of his tenure. If you look at it, there are many players who are a common factor in both cases. Case in point, Rashford. Case in point, Bruno Fernandes. Then you have Dalot. At least these three players, and some other players are not coming to mind. These three players, a minimum, were common throughout all three times. At the end of Ole, at the end of Ten Hag, and now under Amorim. These three should not get a chance ever again. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. He's the worst captain in our history by a mile. And there is no debate. I'm telling you, if you do not want to give it to De Ligt, give it back to Maguire. Because you know what? As bad as Maguire was, he was a better captain than Bruno Fernandes, and we never sank to these depths. So, when I say a rebuild, guys, I mean a proper rebuild. This is something like what Ragnick talked about, open heart surgery, but to the nth degree. Yeah. So, things are going to get worse, guys. Believe it or not. Liverpool away next. Arsenal away next. Like, if there was one game you did not want after this entire run, 3 games in a row we've lost, right? And guys, one more thing, we haven't scored a goal. 2 Old Trafford games, 1 away game against one of the worst teams in the league. And we haven't scored in all those 3 games. Now, the worst team that you could imagine to have is the best team in the world at this moment. And probably the most informed player in the world at the moment. Now, we have both of them coming up at Anfield. Like guys, this is the perfect storm for another 7-0. I saw somebody say it as a joke, like, has any team ever lost 7-0 twice to the same opponent? Guys, we are about to make history. We are about to see records broken. Because honestly put, I don't see how we don't lose by a minimum of 4 goals. Like, this could go 5, 6, because we know what Liverpool is. We know what Liverpool at Anfield is. We know what Liverpool at Anfield against Man United are. And we're seeing Salah. Salah has the most goals and the assists in the league. And they're just firing. They know what they're doing. You know why? Because they have experience, prior experience. And so Liverpool, we'll be very, very lucky if we get it under 4 goals. And I'm perfectly expecting that. It's fine, because that's where we are. We have to understand that we are not the team we used to be. And this season is all about survival. So all I want to see is play style. This is when Amorim is really tested. Because even if some of you say that he doesn't have his players, one thing he can do is in-game management. And that is what I'm faulting him for. Not the system, not the results. I don't mind. We can lose 5 games in a row for all I care. But if we are implementing a system, I do not absolutely care. But we are not doing that at the moment, and that is why I have a problem. Why is that? That's because of the players. But at the same time, Amorim can fix the lineups. You tell me, Can he drop Bruno Fernandes or no? Yes, he can. Can he start Casemiro or Ugarte in the pivot? Yes, he can. Can he start Mino in the 10? Yes, he can. Can he drop Dallo? Yes, he can. Can he drop Mazraoui into centre back and play Anthony at right wing back? Yes, he can. Yet he hasn't done any of these. This is why I am calling Amorim out. But guys, the players, I mean, we say this almost every match reaction nowadays, but get the players out. Like I said, Ahmad, Mino, Euro, and Mazraoui. Apart from these four, everyone can get out. Every single person. If we have any opportunity to replace any of these players, do it. Anybody. Even Casemiro had a poor game today, guys. And Onana, guys, okay, I just remembered one more thing before we tune off, guys. What is this persistence with us trying to transition with long switches of the ball? We always do this. Have you seen this? When we get the ball now, we try to launch it forward, long ball into one of the wingers, but it never gets there. Then it's a turnover immediately. Onana has been the culprit for this a lot. We thought he was a ball-playing keeper, guys. He's not. Unfortunately, he's gone back to, I don't know what he's doing anymore. So now we know we have a keeper who is poor at shot stopping and apparently at playing from the back. So now what do? Now you go to this defense. Right centre back, Maguire. Not too bad. Euro, not too bad. Mazraoui can play. De Ligt can play, obviously. Maybe future captain. Now you go to left centre back. Luke Shaw is injured, obviously. So that leaves you with our captain today, Lisandro Martinez. Guys, this is what I've been saying. Get this guy out. He is no good. And he's not even good enough to start in the top half of a Premier League team. That's how bad he is. Because he does not have pace. He does not have physical ability. And he's short. So what are you offering us? What? An occasional pass. The occasional pass to Ahmad. Is that why we have kept him as a centre back when we need him to defend? Guys, get rid of this guy. Let's get somebody with physique who will actually dominate. And you know what? I don't even care if he's ball playing or not. Because you know what? Euro can do the job. Mazraoui can do the job. De Ligt can do the job. We just need a brute. At left centre back, just get somebody who's no nonsense. Just like that. Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. So 2024 is over, guys. From probably one of the worst years of supporting United, and it's officially over. So that's United 0, Newcastle 2. Anyways, if you guys can enjoy it, then Happy New Year to all of you guys, and see you all in the next one.